Hey there, it's Dawn here. I am making a video, and I don't normally do this. Normally, it's videos of the dogs out and about doing their thing, going for rides, food that I'm making them, birthdays that we're having, trips to the vet, stuff like that. But recently, I was like maybe a month and a half ago, I shared about an incident, a fight between Prince and Nona that happened outside when we were walking. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to talk about some of the issues that have been coming up here at the sanctuary over the last several months. Um, so we only have 5 residents right now, and I've had more than that in the past, but I can only take what I can handle. And there are issues that come up that may mean I can't take another dog because of the issues I'm dealing with the current residents, and they could be extensive medical issues for one or more of the dogs in my care, or they could be behavioral issues, or they could be anxiety related issues. And it's not a good time to bring in another dog because I've already committed to the dogs here at the sanctuary, and they're the ones I have to focus on. And that's where I'm at right now. There's, of course, dogs in need, and I haven't been able to take any new dogs because we have several strong personalities here at the sanctuary right now. Brandy and Atticus, they've been here the longest. They've been here since 2018. They're rock solid in their personalities, disposition. I know what I'm going to get every single time. They're very used to being around a bunch of other dogs and dealing with different personalities. They are the type of dog that will not will not instigate or start a fight or anything like that. However, they will stick up for themselves if another dog picks on them. So they're very fair but firm, and that's the type of personality that I'm used to having here at the sanctuary. We've had a couple in the past that have been a little questionable in terms of personality and dominance and maybe aggression and stuff like that. But for the most, we've been spot on in regard to dogs that come in here, get along with all other dogs, and there's not really any issues. That's not the case right now. Not at all. So we have 3 strong personalities in Prince, Savvy, and Nona. And funny thing is, as I'm recording this, they're all laying right here, right next to me right now. um, all 3 of them have strong personalities. Prince is very, very large. Prince is like 29 inches at the shoulders. I mean, he is so tall and so long, and such a big German Shepherd. And he has degenerative myelopathy, so his coordination is really, really off. And he's a happy-go-lucky boy. He's calm, and he doesn't really, instigate to fights or anything like that. However, Nona, as you know, has targeted him, and he has become stressed over her. So, when he's laying on his bed, even if she walks by, he starts to bare his teeth. And she might just be walking by to get a drink of water. So it's been a real juggling act trying to make sure that no fight breaks out between those two, because they're like a powder keg. And the funny thing is, he'll want to be near her and she'll want to be near him, like when we're out walking. So I don't get it. I don't get that at all. It's just like bad little kids. Just stay the heck away from each other, but they insist on being near each other. Prince is super happy-go-lucky when we're outside. He just bounces. He reminds me of Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. He just bounces all over the place. And his energy is super pronounced. He's very, very excited, just very excited and jovial, and wants to engage in play. but he's, again, like Tigger, he just pounces, and that can be perceived as a threat to the other dogs. They don't like the fact that he's huge and now he has this big presence and lots of energy, and they're not sure how to take it. So that's been a bit of a struggle. Then there's Nona. And I've not made any secret about Nona's personality, disposition, and her anxiety. It has really, really been a struggle for me here at the sanctuary with her. I don't know if she's ever lived inside before. I'm not sure if she's ever lived with other dogs before. All I know is we have never had a resident as anxious as her. She is just so unsure of everything every day. And she's been with us since the summer, and our routine is really consistent. So she should know by now what to expect. So the anxiety that she has is beyond her control. It's something that I'm not going to be able to correct. So we talked with our vet, and we did get medication for her. And I noticed a little bit of an improvement, nothing huge. So I kept trying to take steps to see more of an improvement in her. Sorry about that, folks. So we incorporated Dr. Hemp Dog Ultra Behavioral CBD oil, which we've seen the biggest improvement with her and her anxiety on that. It has been a godsend, and I hope it continues to work for her. Then last week, someone, I don't know who, someone anonymously shipped us a thunder coat for her, thunder shirt for her, anti-anxiety shirt. And she is wearing it. And I have seen, again, a little bit more of an improvement in her since she's been wearing this thunder shirt. However, she's still anxious, and she definitely targets Prince. So those two are, it's like a powder keg. Again, if I'm out walking with them, I have to have her because she's got to be on a leash if Prince is with me. And he has to walk directly behind me. I mean, literally, if I stop, he bumps into me. That's how close he is to me. So like I said, they're like a powder keg. They're like, again, two bad little kids who just, you just want to say, just stay the heck away from each other. Why are you near each other? You don't have to be near each other. And yet they are. And that's Prince and Nona. So it's definitely been a juggling act with those two. Then there's Savvy. Now, Savvy's a great girl. She is. She's a great dog. Savvy was owner surrendered. I know there were issues before with Savvy and separation anxiety, and she would be destructive, and her owner went away a lot. And Savvy also thinks she's in charge. Savvy will be, as soon as we go out to go for a walk, she has to be front and center. She's in the front. She's pushing her way to the front. And she's in the front. She's first. And she wants to be first all the time for everything. And this is a dominance thing. This is her saying, I'm alpha, I'm in charge, you're not. And no, that's not the case at all. She's not in charge. I'm in charge. I go out the door first. I go in the door first. I eat my meal first. I'm first. And that's how they learn. They're not first. I'm first. But Savvy still tries to challenge that because I believe that's what she was led to believe her whole life. So we have that, the dominant issue with her, thinking she's first all the time, and the other dogs don't like that. And then her anxiety. She is not destructive at all when I'm not here. But when I come back, she is ballistic, out of her mind, whining, crying, circling, pacing. Just if she could crawl into my skin, she would, because she's so stressed out because she obviously didn't know if I was coming back or not. She even does it when I wake up first thing in the morning. Sometimes I literally sneak out the other side of my bed so I can at least get dressed before she knows I'm awake, because once she knows I'm awake, again, here comes the whole act. of the whining, the crying, the circling, the pacing, the jumping. You know, she's just insane, out of her mind with anxiety and excitement because I'm now present and she sees me and she knows I'm back. And I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her. So she also is on CBD oil, Dr. Hemp Dog, as is Prince, for his overly excitability and savvy for her anxiety. And I'm a huge proponent of CBD oil as long as it's a great quality CBD oil with lots of research to back up what's exactly in that bottle. And that's Dr. Hemp Dog. You will get that from Dr. Hemp Dog for sure. So anyway, I've been dealing with a lot with this three right next to me right here. I love them all. They're not going anywhere. It has been a struggle, but Rome wasn't built in a day. And basically what they're learning is to be calm, that there's no reason to be anxious. They need to dial it all down. All three of them need to dial it down, whether they're excited because they want to run out the door to play, whether they're thinking they're first at the door, or whether they're last trying to bite another dog's butt because they don't know what's going on. They're just anxious. Definitely dialing it down. So what I've been doing is sometimes I will walk them in groups depending on the day and depending on how they're all acting that day. Most of the time, I've been walking in smaller groups. Savvy can pretty much go out with any group, and she usually does. Nona can go out with Savvy. She can go out with Brandy. She can go out with Atticus. I really don't like to have her out with Prince. And Prince, I don't really want to have him out with Nona, and I really don't want to have him out with Atticus too much either because Atticus is a very laid-back boy, or Brandy. I don't want to have him out with Brandy either because, again, he's bouncing around all over the place like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, even though he has degenerative myelopathy. And he's actually bumped into Brandy and knocked her down. Atticus doesn't like that. He doesn't like the energy, so he gets a little temperamental too. So I try to keep Prince separate from Nona. Basically, he can go out with Savvy. And again, if there's more than just me, he can go out with the rest of the group. Nona is actually much calmer if Prince is not in the group. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes we all do go out together and it can be hit or miss. Like I do keep trying to see how it goes if we all go out together. Sometimes I'm absolutely miserable when I come back in from our walk, totally regretting my decision. Other times it's like, yay, everybody's getting a treat because everybody did great. So we're working on it. As far as anxiety goes, dogs who have anxiety, they have anxiety for different reasons. But one reason that they could have anxiety is because they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe in their environment. They're not sure about what's going on. They're overwhelmed. They're stressed, and it comes out via anxiety. So how I'm trying to deal with Nona is I try to keep a routine. And I try to be extremely consistent about the routine. That's when we get up, when we go to bed, when we eat in the morning, when we eat in the afternoon, when we take our walks. I try to be extremely consistent for her and for Savvy, for her separation anxiety, so they know what they can expect. The other thing that I do is I try not to be gone for long periods of time, especially for Savvy. This is very, very important for her. I try to do, I work outside of the home, and but I have a job that allows me a lot of flexibility in terms of when I leave and how long I'm gone for. So I try to schedule my appointments. Maybe I may be gone 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day tops, or maybe I don't have to leave. Maybe I can just work from home, or I can go to work at night when Mr. Woody's place is home so the dogs aren't here by themselves. So again, it's a juggling act for me. It's not easy and it doesn't always work out, but I strive to keep the routine consistent for the dogs and not be gone too long so that dogs like Savvy aren't just completely anxious and stressed because they're not sure, when I'm coming back. Now, the other thing I'm doing in regard to the strong personalities, when I say strong personality, again, Prince has a strong personality, but, he's pretty much harmless, although he has gotten into a fight or two with Nona. He's pretty much harmless. He's just very, very excited and happy. So I try not to get him really wound up. Like when I'm outside with the dogs, I'm not throwing balls for them to chase and all that stuff, because then a fight ensues because he's trying to run after a ball. Nona's just generally freaked out, squeaking her ball left and right. And then there's Savvy and Atticus all trying to run after a ball. And then he might get upset if somebody else gets the ball before him. So I don't do that. That's not happening right now here at the sanctuary. We don't go out and play fetch or, anything like that, because usually somebody gets overly excited and then, snarling starts to take place. So that's not happening. If inside toys become a problem, there's, guarding over toys, or this is my toy and I don't want you to have it, I pick them up. And I put them away. They're not allowed to have whatever that toy is that they're all, trying to get. When we have baskets of toys that they can choose something else, they'll still all want the same toy. So that toy goes. It's out of here until they can, act right with the toy. The other thing that I'm doing, again, particularly for Savvy, who always has to be front and center, first and foremost, she's first. I'm not letting her. No, she is. She has been learning that she is not first. That is definitely a dominance thing. She tried to propel herself to the top of the pecking order here at the sanctuary, and it's not happening. She is learning that yes, she is part of the group. Yes, she will get hers. Yes, she will get out that door, but she will sit and wait at least until I walk through that door, and then she can walk through in a calm fashion. Now, sometimes does she barrel through the door? Yep. Sometimes she blows by me. I mean, again, I'm 53 years old, 5'2". Sometimes I get bested by, one of the residents here, and it happens, but the main thing is I try to set boundaries, firm boundaries that they can grasp, and I try to remain consistent with those boundaries so that they know who's in charge, who's alpha, me, and that they certainly will get theirs too. So that's what I've been doing here at the sanctuary with these strong personalities that we have. That being said, I'm not going to be able to take any new residents until the dynamics change here at the sanctuary, because number one, it just wouldn't be fair to bring in another dog. It wouldn't be fair to that dog. It wouldn't be fair to the dogs that I have here. Number two, it would definitely set back the 3 here with the strong personalities and the 2 that have anxiety. It would set them back, and that wouldn't be fair. The bottom line is the dogs that are here are the dogs that I have already committed to, and they're the dogs that I've committed to, and they're here, and that's who I'm caring for right now. So as much as I would love to help other dogs that come in right now, basically all I can do is cross post and maybe try to find an approved adopter for them. But as of right now, I have to take care of what I have here and do what's best for them. So that's where we're at. And I can honestly say, in the history of Woody's Place, I've never been in this situation before. We've always had the dogs that have come in, have, gone along with the program. In fact, I've said in order to, go along, they have to get along. And right now we're having a little bit of trouble with that. Moving forward with Woody's Place. Now there was talk before about putting a building outside on my property, like a pole barn. um, and turning it into additional space for dogs, for Woody's place and whatnot. And at the end of the day, that just wasn't going to work for me. We would have had to put in, we would have had to tap into our well, our septic, all that stuff. It was just going to be costly. And Mr. Woody's place and I always go back and forth about whether we're actually staying here in northeastern PA or not. So that really wasn't going to work for us. But moving forward, I still envision additional space for Woody's place. It's not going to be something like a shelter where, there's kennels all over the place and it's just cold and not a whole lot of human contact or anything like that. I'm envisioning a place where I live, Mr. Woody's place and I live, but also have space, a bigger space, a more open space, I should say, for residents, for Woody's place. And I envision something like a pole barn house. People do it all the time. You can go online and you can research this. Pole barn houses, or barn dominiums is what they're called. And Mr. Woody's place and I, we don't need like this huge house that we live in, but we have it because we have Woody's place. So I envision something like a barn dominium where it is like a pole barn structure with a giant open space, and we have like an apartment or a little condominium inside the pole barn where we live. So I'm picturing something like that moving forward. I definitely would like a bigger piece of land than what we have here. Where Woody's place originally started, and I'm kind of rambling here, we had more land. And it was definitely set up better, but it didn't work out. It was just a little too far from my husband's job. Now we're here, and this still isn't really working out. We have houses on both sides of our property. We have a good sized piece of property, but we still have houses on both sides of the property and across the street. And this house is very close to the road, and that's another problem. I'm always worried about dogs, getting out and potentially getting hit by a car. And I don't love that. So we have gone back and forth about this still not being our forever home, and still moving to a different piece of property with, like I said, a pole barn structure with a condominium inside for us. And inside that pole barn structure, I envision something a whole lot different than what we have here now. I still envision it being a home environment. But I would also like to have a hydrotherapy tank for the dogs. I would also like an indoor walking area for the dogs, for, when there's bad weather outside that lasts so long here, that they can actually walk and not hurt themselves or scrape their toes in the hard encrusted snow or something along those lines. I envision an area that's a grooming station that, I'm not busting my back getting them in and out of my own personal tub to get them clean. I envision an appropriate grooming area for the residents. Again, all while maintaining a home-like environment. I also envision some sort of greenhouse. It could be attached to the pole barn or a separate facility, because I cook for these dogs all the time. And last year, I personally had my biggest garden I've ever had in my entire life for myself, Mr. Woody's place, and for these dogs, because they certainly benefited from the produce I was growing in that garden. We also have goats and chickens. So we have goat's milk. We have tons of eggs, and these are all free range. The goats, they got like about an acre. They're just out there parading around and doing whatever they want. I do let them out from time to time. They go in the woods, they forage, same with the chickens. And these dogs benefit from what the chickens and goats produce. So I envision that as well. So as you know, I cook. I try to be as holistic as possible. People have said to me in the past, these dogs come to you and they're in such bad shape, and then they go on and they live so much longer than anticipated. You must have angel dust there. Not really. What I have is the desire to give them the best food that they can possibly have. And I think that heals them from the inside out. Also, exercise is key. It also helps with the anxiety. I have to post a picture of it because it's on trail cam. I am outside with these dogs easily 5 times a day, walking them, sometimes more in the summer. And we do short, frequent walks throughout the day. And I have this picture on trail cam. It's one of these days where it was just really cold and the dog still wanted to go out anyway. And Prince fought me to put on his coat, and it was just a mess. I was like, fine, we'll go out there and we'll just make one lap around and we'll come back in. And I don't even know if we were out there like 8 minutes, but I am literally bundled up with my hood up and my boots. And I'm like, I have Nona in my hand. I'm like, I hate this. But the dogs were thrilled, they were just thrilled to be out there. So that's what I envision moving forward. I have to talk more to Mr. Woody's place about it because, again, we go back and forth and he keeps saying, get the land, and we'll figure it out. So I think this year is going to be the year that I'm going to start looking for land and moving forward with this where I see Woody's place going in the future. But as of right now, we have 5 in our care, 3 with strong personalities, 2 with anxiety issues, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. So I'm sharing all of this with you, and I know I've gone on a little bit here. I'm sharing all of this with you so you know what I deal with on a regular basis. So if you're dealing with something like this too, please, you can reach out. You can ask me questions, inbox me, message me at wpsgss@gmail.com. And we can chat. We can have a conversation about what I have found is helping with the group that I have here, what hasn't worked. Maybe you have ideas for me that I could try to implement and then share with other people. I would love to hear that. And again, don't be surprised if a couple months from now you hear, hey, we got land. I think we're going ahead with this. We're going to be moving ahead with this and making Woody's place a bigger, better sanctuary than what it is right now. And don't get me wrong. I mean, what we have right now is a lot better than what we had 10 years ago. It's just, I feel like it's time to move on. The bigger the facility that we have, the bigger the facility that we have, obviously the more seniors that we can help. And right now where we live, it's a very big house. It really is, but it's not designed for caring for a whole bunch of senior German Shepherds. And I definitely am looking to help more than what I've actually been able to do in the past. So, all right, folks, I've gone on long enough. Sometimes I could be long-winded, but like I said, I did want to share that with you. And don't get me wrong, I love all the residents that we have here. They're all special in their own way. They're all loves. We all snuggle together and everything's fine. Everything for the most is fine, but these are some issues that have crept up that I just felt that I needed to share with you so that you don't always think it's always perfect here. And geez, how does she manage? How does she keep all these dogs? And there's not a fight or anything like that. There is. There is. All right. We just know how to deal with it. All right. Anyway, thank you for listening. And I'd love to hear back from you about any of your stories that you have about overly excited dogs, separation anxiety, dominant personality, strong personalities, all that stuff. And yes, even senior German Shepherds can have issues like that, not just young German Shepherds. All right, folks, until next time.